This is one of my favorite dishes of all time. It's called cassoulet. Basically a medieval French casserole.
And it starts with duck confit, which are duck legs slow cooked in fat. While the ducky's cooking, we gotta get going on the beans, which are very important. Classically, Tarbay beans are used, but I used cannellini because that's just kind of what I had access to. It's basically just a bunch of aromatics and a bunch of pork. You're gonna cook that and simmer it until the beans are tender, and then you're gonna let it sit in the fridge overnight to let those beans absorb all that flavor. Does this dish have a lot going on in it? Yes. Is it kind of a pain in the ass to make? Absolutely. However, it's one of my favorite dishes of all time, and we're cooking it for a very special occasion. So remove all the aromats from said beans, then we're gonna work on our Toulouse sausages and pork ribs with some thyme and bay leaf. We're just gonna cook those till they get a little color, then we're gonna chop all that meat up. All the meat from the beans, all the sausage and the pork rib you just saw, we're gonna cut it up and we're gonna plop it into something very special. But before we do so, we must unearth our duck confit legs. We're just gonna crisp those up in the oven. This dish is called a cassoulet. I hope I'm saying that right. It's a medieval French casserole dish. I ordered this from France, actually. Cost way too much for something made out of terracotta, but, you know, here we are. All the meat goes in, cover it with the beans, then pour the bean cooking liquid up just to the top of the beans. Over the course of the next few hours, I'm going to remove the cassoulet, press down the beans to rehydrate them, and keep going until we form a really nice crust. The textural variation between that crust and the creamy beans and all that meat is very important, so you really want to make sure to get a nice, dark, deep crust on this thing. Pull apart the duck confit, mix that in, and I would serve this with a nice bottle of Bordeaux and maybe like a salad with a nice sharp vinaigrette. A spritz of good vinegar goes a long way on this thing. It's a very rich dish, so it just kind of helps cut through. I make this dish maybe once a year for special occasions, and this time that special occasion is my fiance's B-day. We had this dish in France the night I proposed, so it's kind of a special thing for us.
It's cool,